Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today are sponsored by Basant Motors. Basant Motors trying to do Santa's job again this Christmas. Giulio standing by. They're giving away gifts with all purchases. Learn more at basantmotors.com. Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox. Andrew from Burnaby. Boudreaux took over a Washington team in 07-08. That's a Washington team in 07-08 with a 16-14-1 record and took them to the playoffs that season. Have faith, Ryan.
Exactly.
If it could happen in Washington, why can't it happen here? Hey, Blues, dead last. They win the Stanley Cup in 2019.
Stop with that. Stop with that.
Why? It
Part
happened.
2 coming up?
It happened.
Yeah, that's
Heck,
all.
You are so negative.
I'm not. No,
you ever see me be negative?
I'm
Never.
honestly not. It's just we know the Canuck way.
Longtime BC Lions and CFL analyst Giulio Caravatta is going to join us now. The 2021 Grey Cup was a classic. The 108th Grey Cup, by the way. Bombers over the Ticats, 33-25 in overtime. Giulio joining us now. How are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good. What stood out for you Sunday in Hamilton?
Well, I won't lie. I was surprised at the weather, although the weather did have a big impact on the game. The wind clearly was an advantage for the team that had it and a huge disadvantage if you were into it. So, but overall, I thought it was a great game, especially that second half, going back and forth and the strategy. And I thought that last drive by Hamilton was going to seal it. I thought they were going to punch it in the end zone there late and, walk off with the Grey Cup and really, I think, shock everybody, going into that game that everyone pretty much conceded that Winnipeg was going to walk away with it. But Hamilton put up a heck of a fight, and again, it was a great game.
Yeah, the single point on the kickoff didn't exactly help Hamilton. Giulio, what makes Winnipeg, and look, they're back-to-back champions. Lord knows if there was a 2020 season, it could be 3 Grey Cups in a row for Winnipeg. What makes the Bombers so successful?
Well, I think first and foremost, they've been able to keep the core group of that team together. And, when you can do that, and they've had some great teams. But to me, what stands out is their defense, right? Especially their defense up front, with Jeff Code and Jefferson, Evans in the middle, Richardson in the middle, the Big Hill, roaming around at middle linebacker. They just, they've been able to really, keep those guys together. And then they, you add a Winston Rose who came back from the NFL midway through the year. You add Castillo is your field goal kicker in that trade with the Lions. So, they did a very, very good job. And offensively, what can you say? Zach Claros has, had a hell of a year, and Andrew Harris has been fantastic. But it's the stability through the roster that I think is to their credit, that they've been able to keep all those guys together, and that consistency has obviously paid off with another championship.
Giulio, Wally Buono made a ton of great decisions as head coach of the British Columbia Lions, but he also let some guys go that we all questioned. And 2 of them for me are Adam Bighill and Andrew Harris. Harris is still going. They won Grey Cups again last night.
Yeah.
Are you surprised these 2 are still going strong, Giulio?
Well, Andrew, I think probably would be more the surprise because, just that running back, you just take such a beating, right? And you just get worn down by injuries. And that, to me, I think is a bit more surprising. And the other part, too, is you got to remember, guys, I don't, in both those cases, I don't think that they wanted to let them go. I think that, Andrew's from Winnipeg. That's his hometown. He wanted to play there. He was going to end up there eventually. And with Adam Bighill, too, the Lions wanted him back. But again, salary. They just couldn't afford to bring him back. They were going to be paying, their linebackers, I think, close to $400,000 or $500,000 if they would have had to re-sign him. So Adam's, and the thing about Adam is that he's such a smart football player. He's been able to, maybe his skill has maybe, I don't want to say deteriorated, but as he's gotten a little bit older, you get a little bit wiser. When to make plays and when to lay off. You're not trying to hit everything that moves. You pick and choose your spots. And Neither one of those two surprised me. I think only thing that surprised me that Andrew's been able to do it for as long as he's been doing it, given the position that he plays.
Okay, going to ask you about the you saw the Edmonton Elks, Giulio. They cleaned house. I mean, just everybody. The BC Lions, we have not heard anything. Coach, GM, Mike Riley, what are you hearing? Do you see the owner being patient here? What's the feel for you there?
I think for me, I think you're going to see, I think, them come back, their coaching staff. I don't see, much change happening there. Maybe, you might see the odd position coach that might leave to go back home or take a better spot somewhere else. But I think really the biggest question for me is what's the future of Mike Riley? That's the biggest question mark, I think, for the Lions. He's probably going to take a little bit of time, and clearly what they're going to have to do is if they, and I know they want him back, is that he's going to have to come back at a reduced salary, right? You're going to have to be able to, bring him back and be able to use some of that money to help in other positions, and that's something I know that they want to do, and they want to make that happen. So as far as, the Lions goes, I think that's probably the biggest question mark, because Riley's answering that question is going to lead to what you're going to be able to do outside of that position, right? How you're going to be able to add maybe a defensive lineman or add another receiver or add a running back, or all those kinds of things that you need to supplement to make yourself better. So, that's what I think as far as the Lions. As far as the Edmonton Elks, I would be very, very surprised if it's not Chris Jones. He's a guy that clearly I know has had a history there, and I don't know what the terms were when he left there, but he's a guy that clearly knows how to build a team and knows what it takes to win in this league, and he gets his guys to play for him. He's been successful everywhere he's gone, and I would suspect that he might be at the very, very top of that list.
Yeah.
With the Argos right now. Hey, and Giulio, CFL is discussing, we heard about the deal with Genius Sports, so there's that to help with marketing and things like gambling issues, that sort of thing. What goes through your mind, though, when the CFL says, okay, we're going to be discussing rule changes again, and this is an age-old question, one of the rule changes they're going to consider is going from 3 downs to 4 downs. What goes through your mind when you hear that?
I'll be honest, I think it's crazy. I think the 3-down game is what's made the Canadian Football League unique and its own brand. That's just part of the very fabric of what this league was built on. So, I think going down that road is not very smart. I hear that, I understand, hey, everything's on the table, but that to me is crazy. The biggest thing, guys, and I know that the CFL takes a beating on this and with attendance, and everyone always brings up attendance. But, I watch sports like you guys watch sports. Attendance is down and everywhere. I mean, there's not very many professional leagues that are seeing, packed stadiums every single week. It's having the world has changed over the last 2 years. The people are out there still struggling, and to be able to get to a game, I think the biggest thing that faces the league is not the rules, it's how to engage a younger audience, right? And I get a chance. I work with guys at the Fire Hall that are all that young, part of that young generation, and what it is, guys, is gambling. I mean, they watch football and they watch sports because of the gambling. They're in fantasy leagues. They'll go on these betting sites, and that's what is the intrigue. It's the way that they watch the game. Because I talk to these guys, I try to figure out what the deal is, and some of them, they don't really know the game. They just know the line and who's favored and who's not favored, and try to bet on it. So, to me, that's where the league needs to really concentrate its efforts, is to really try to re-engage that younger generation and get them interested in the game. They lost a generation of fans, and they've been struggling ever since that point. The game itself is still entertaining. Yeah, the scoring's down, but that goes in waves. The defenses figure the offenses out, and then the offense is going to figure the defense out. That happens. But to change the rules like that, I'm not for it.
Okay, Giulio, we're over a bit here, but you brought it up, that the gambling issue. My understanding from what I read is that this new deal with Genius Sports is going to help in that area. What do you understand?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's all part of the experience of going to the game, right? They want to be able to attract those kinds of kids that are going and betting on fantasy and betting on all that stuff and going to a game. And
But Giulio, how's Genius going to help? How's Genius Sports going to help?
I'm not 100% sure on how they're going to help, Donnie. I'm sure that they're, what they can offer, with mobile devices and your access into lines and all that kind of stuff. That's what I would think. I mean, I'm not really 100% sure on, the ins and outs of that deal yet, but that's what I'm sure is going to be at the top of everybody's list as far as getting that re-engagement.
What are the odds of you having a mole problem come the spring on your lawn?
I already have it. Really? Actually, you know what? The other day I had one, and I was going to take a picture of the hole and send it to you.
Hey, Giulio,
are you still battling? By the way,
no. I don't know what happened to my moles. They're gone, but I'm happy to report that. I feel bad for you. You're going to say something.
By the way, I watch you guys all the time.
Yeah,
okay? I love watching you guys. You guys are you guys make me laugh, and I will say this, Dollywall, that's the best that you've looked.
Oh,
shirt,
look at this
T-shirt combination.
Oh.
I like it. Donnie, you always look good, but Dollywall, he's questionable sometimes.
This is a good pal of mine. Hey, don't rip into me. Giulio,
I'm
worst
not
thing.
ripping into you. I'm just saying
It was a compliment. It was a compliment.
Listen, the worst thing about the Grey Cup, Giulio, you know what it was?
What's that?
You and I and Donnie were not there. That's the big bad thing that happened on the weekend, buddy.
Yeah, we usually go and have a good time, and it was weird to stay home.
Yeah,
it might be a little different now, Giulio, because now, as opposed to 20 years ago, we're talking about mole problems versus where are we going to go out.
And now if we went to a Grey Cup, we'd be asleep by 10.
There you go.
9:30.
Not all of us, Giulio, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for this.
Okay, buddy. Take care. Have a great day.
You bet.